Do you prefer to go to bed early and wake up earlier? Or are you someone who finds yourself being really creative late at night? In this video, what I'm going to do is look at some of the consequences associated with being a night owl and what we can do to overcome some of these deleterious health effects. So for those of you who are brand new to my channel, my name is Lucas, the founder of Ergogenic Health. And my mission is to bring you the most cutting edge health information that you'll struggle to find on Google. So if you don't want to improve your health, please do not subscribe to my channel. Let's take a look at night owls, and specifically let's ask ourselves this question. Are you someone who actually prefers to do creative work late at night? Or are you someone who prefers to go to bed earlier and wake up earlier? For me personally, I like to go to bed early, roughly 9:30, and wake up at around 5 a.m. during the week. And for me, that seems to work really well for general productivity, energy, and focus. This video is not about me, it's about the science. So let's take a look at some of the consequences associated with being a night owl. So this first study was titled, "Those with the habit of going to sleep early show a higher ratio of lymphocytes, whilst those with the habit of staying up late show a higher ratio of granulocytes." Now, interestingly, it has been reported that these granulocytes present adrenaline receptors on the outer membranes, and that adrenaline injections can actually cause an excess of these granulocytes. What the authors hypothesized was that it may be the extreme activation of the sympathetic nervous system and the overstimulation of the sympathetic nervous system following staying up late and waking up late. This is really critical to understand because many of us are stuck in this sympathetic dominant state, which is a state characterized by high adrenaline, high cortisol, high blood pressure, high heart rate. In general, it's not a healthy state to be in chronically. And alternatively, we really want to be activating the opposite, which is the parasympathetic nervous system, which is associated with rest, digest, and reproduce, or sex hormone production. So this next particular study looked at, is being a night owl bad for your health? And what they noted was that night owls may have a higher risk of suffering from heart disease and type 2 diabetes than early risers. This is the first ever international review of studies analyzing whether being an early riser or a night owl can influence your health. And the researchers uncovered a growing body of evidence indicating an increased risk of ill health in people with an evening preference, as they have more erratic eating patterns and generally consume more unhealthy foods. Now, if we take a step back and actually have a look at some of the potential physiological effects that are occurring here, just remember that as melatonin rises in the evening, melatonin generally has a suppressive effect on insulin secretion, and it is insulin whose role is to shuttle or get glucose out of the bloodstream and into target organs and tissues. So it makes me wonder whether those that eat very late at night, due to the rise in melatonin, perhaps they're getting a blunting of that insulin release and subsequent hyperglycemia, so high blood sugar. This next study looked at resetting the late timing of night owls has a positive impact on mental health and performance. This particular study used a randomized controlled trial design aimed to shift the late timing of night owls to an earlier time, which is called phase advance, using non-pharmacological practice interventions in a real-world setting. These interventions targeted light exposure through earlier wake-up sleep times, fixed meal times, and moderated caffeine intake, and also exercise. Now, overall, participants demonstrated a significant advance of about 2 hours in the sleep-wake timings, and the phase advance was accompanied by significant improvements to self-reported depression and stress, as well as improved cognitive function, reaction time, and physical grip strength performance measures during the typical suboptimal morning hours. So conclusions, our findings propose a novel strategy for shifting clock timing towards a pattern that is more aligned to societal demands that could significantly improve elements of performance, mental health, and sleep timing in the real world. This next study was interesting. Influence of early rising on performance in tasks requiring attention and memory. This study presented that those that rised early in the morning, as described in ancient Indian tradition, influences had a better ability to recall particular words on a memory assessment task. So here are my practical tips for those that are night owls. The most important point to really emphasize here is to try and get plenty of natural sunlight exposure first thing in the morning as soon as you've woken up. Now, the key point to understand here is that we don't want to be getting sunlight exposure through a window. We really want to be getting outside and exposing our skin to the sun, and then also try to look around the sun. Don't look obviously directly into the sun, but look around the sun, as that will actually help to release morning cortisol. Now, there is another sort of concept here is known as sun gazing. I've personally experimented with sun gazing, and for me, on the days that I did sun gaze, I did notice major reductions in appetite, better mood, and better energy. But we'll keep that separate to another video. Tip number 2 is to wear blue blockers before bed for those that are, struggling to actually fall asleep early. You'll see a pair of blue blockers that I personally wear linked down below in the video description. In general, I tend to wear my blue blockers around 6:30 p.m. or 7 p.m. at night. And then by the time it hits, let's say 9 o'clock at night, in general, I feel extremely sleepy, and I know that my melatonin levels have started peaking. In addition, we also want to turn all lights off at sleep time, including night lights. Really important for those that are, trying to boost melatonin production. We also want to keep to a regular sleep and waking schedule. So if you can try to go to bed at the same time and wake up at the same time, that's going to be beneficial long term. Obviously, we want to also avoid alcohol, cigarettes, and caffeine, as all of these can increase body temperature. And by increasing body temperature, that's going to affect the onset of sleep. Also worthwhile considering melatonin microdosing, so at about 300 micrograms. That seems to work well for a lot of people without building any degree of addiction or, I guess, tolerance. And in general, that can be used to, help to phase advance our sleep-wake schedule. We also want to keep your bedroom for sleep and sex only, and keep it at a nice cool 16 to 18 degrees Celsius. And then finally, be sure to watch my other videos on sleep. I've covered various sleep hacks on my channel. Be sure to check those out. So hopefully you learned something brand new, or you learned something interesting about being a night owl. If you did enjoy this video, please like the video, please leave a comment down below, and be sure to check out all of my other amazing videos, as I do spend a lot of time putting in, many hours to film these videos. So thanks everyone for tuning in. I look forward to seeing you in the next video.